there was this moment where I got invited to USA Today, and the CTO of USA Today is on stage, and I got a chance to ask a question. So I asked him about the mobile web and about readership on mobile, and he laughed and said, hey, not a priority, not something that we're ever going to do. And he cited data for why and this is like, again, something I think holds us back, because you all probably have a lot of really good data about why you might even shut down some of the things I say in this talk. But his data point was like, just look at the analytics. Nobody reads on mobile. So why would we spend any time building on mobile, right? And what do we know now? Nobody read on mobile because no device existed in which you would read on mobile. And the second that exists, everyone reads on mobile. So when that happens, there's like, I don't know, 20,000 people on the planet that have been building for mobile. And so the distance between USA Today saying, no way, Jose, and the Washington Post hiring us to build their first iPhone app is 18 months. And that's just like a wild thing to me. But it's this whole mantra of like, think through like what doesn't work, why doesn't it work, and then like how we might break down mental models, how we might break down how we think about data, how we think about our own businesses, how we think about things like growth. All right, we know this one too, right? Do things that don't scale. Another very classic Silicon Valley mantra. I promise only like half of these are Silicon Valley like cliche, but they're important because do something that doesn't work yet. The other thing that we did, we just got really lucky, right? So in 2005, 2006, we're thinking mobile web. iPhone doesn't exist. Who would have thought that would have taken off? In 2006, 2007, there's this term that started going around called the conversational web. Seemed like a very academic term, didn't really know what it meant, but it made sense to us. Now, what we know happens about 24 to 36 months later is social media becomes a thing. But we were starting to think about how would you design a website that was shareable? And the word we started using in October of 2006 was retweetable. Like the retweet as a concept didn't even exist, but it was like to tweet it again. And so this was like a wild moment where it's like, okay, like, cool, got in front of it twice. That's pretty lucky. But then in 2009, we start thinking like, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Because now the iPhone's a thing. We all have apps. We're all getting Uber and we're getting Square. Like the app ecosystem is building $10 billion businesses seemingly overnight. We thought, hey, there's another moment happening. What if you didn't need to know Objective-C? What if you could build things outside of the app ecosystem and still have them be as good of an experience, thinking about it from a design perspective, as an app? The only way you could accomplish that, now it's so obvious, but back then, you needed these little things called HTML5 and CSS3 and then JavaScript, which 2 or 3 years before was like a dirty word. It'd be like saying crypto right now, right? Nobody used JavaScript, full of vulnerabilities and security. It's like, you're going to get hacked. Like everything you'd say if I said crypto, you'd have the same like visceral reaction. But we were adamant that this was the future. Again, just taking a big, bold bet on where we thought the world was going to go. And then thankfully, Steve Jobs goes on national television, says HTML5. What happens 12 to 36 months later? Flash is dead. Like, who could have thought? Flash powered the entire internet advertising industry, and then it's just dead, like overnight, right? And so these things happen very quick, but I think it's for us, it's not this, oh, Marty's really good at predicting things. Marty's like really lucky. Marty's like super, it's small incremental bets, right? Because there's 1,000 other things we did that I don't even talk about, right? Because they're meaningless and they're useless. But we iterate quickly, we move on fast, and we pivot like, ridiculously quick. But they turn out to be really big things. Because now the one now is AI, right? We all want to know about AI. The problem is we're having that conversation at the end of 2024. You had to have that conversation in June of 2020 when the GPT-3 beta comes out. You can't have it 2 years later when ChatGPT hits. You can't have it now. So yes, obviously, you should be all in on AI, but you should also start looking at like, yes, AI is taking all the energy out of the room, just like iPhone apps took all the energy out of the room, just like mobile took, just like social media. Something else is coming. And so even though we've got to be all in on AI now, you've still got to have your eyes open. You've still got to create this diverse portfolio in terms of what you're focused on and what you're building.